مساء الخير واهلا وسهلا فيكم عبر تلفزيون الجالية. الليلة نحن كتير فخورين نكون موجودين بكنيسة Canadian Church reporting on the refugee issues, وموجود معنا special guest Minister Jayson Kenny و also a lot of federal candidates. مثل ما بنعرف الإلكشن الفدرالية بأكتوبر 19. So stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and welcome the Minister of Multiculturalism and National Defense.
So I am going to let him now speak to all of us. Thank you for coming.
Assalamu alaikum. Marhaba. And to all of our most recent arrivals, including the families that just arrived tonight, we have the Banusian family, I believe. Is that right? To the Banusian family and all of the others, let me say, Ahlan wa sahlan fik bi Canada.
وأول guest معنا هو كتير عزيز على قلبنا والصديق للجالية العربية. Welcome our dear friend Michael Parsa.
مرحبا.
أهلا وسهلا. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
I know you're busy and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. I know Michael Parsa is running to be a federal MP for the riding of Richmond Hill on October the 19th. So my question for you is, what's your take on events as such on the refugee issue that we're facing with as a nation?
Well, look, this is something that's very dear to many of us, immigrants in particular in Canada, but Canadians as a whole, because Canada has always been a compassionate country, a loving country, with one that always welcomes those in need with open arms. That policy, I'm so thrilled that it has carried on under our government, the Conservative government, while we've been in power. The steadfast approaches that the government has shown to deal with the crisis is something that I'm very, very proud of. You will see, you'll hear very shortly Minister Kenny speak about what initiatives that we've taken and what we will continue to do to help in these crises. But yeah, I'm very proud of our so far of our involvements thus far.
Thank you, Michael. What's your message to our Arabic community?
Look, this is a very, when it comes to these crises in particular, this is something that unites us all. It's not just the Arabic community. I hope that all Arabic speaking community, countries, nations come together in these crises to help one another. But right now, this is not just the Arabic community. This is an international effort that we need to all step up, be together, and to assist with these crises. In particular, I'm proud of Canada's efforts right now, resettling another 10,000 Syrian refugees within the next few months in a lot faster approach, as announced by Minister Alexander. This is on top of the 42,000 that have already been relocated from Syria and Iraq and the surrounding nations. So it's great. It's something that we need to keep our hands on as much as we can. But I'm very proud of our government's record so far on this issue.
Sign and a hope of freedom, security, peace, and opportunity. And that is why in the past 10 years, Canada has welcomed over 2.5 million new permanent residents as immigrants to our land. It's including nearly 250,000 refugees who have obtained Canada's protection in the last decade.
Our next special guest is Toyin Dada, our federal conservative candidate for Etobicoke North. Toyin, I'm always happy to interview a lady, especially in politics. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to have this opportunity and honored to be here right now.
My question to you is, what's your message to our Arab community in general?
Well, my message to you is this. As a party and even myself as an individual, we understand what is taking place, and we're doing exactly what we know is needed to be done to support your community. We are here for your community. We've been providing the humanitarian aid, support for the refugees, as well as making sure that we really address the root cause of the issue. And so we're here with you, we're working with you, we're fighting with you, and we really hope to see many just great solutions come out of this situation. We understand that it's a really hard situation for many families, and even many individuals here are concerned for their families as well back home. I actually was this past week with Global Medic, and we were packaging water filters for families that are not in the UN camps and need clean water and things like that. So I'm very grateful that we live in Canada, where there's so much help that we have been and are able to provide for the people who are right there in the country as well as here in Canada. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We wish you all the best on October 19. Thank you.
The old asylum system that used to exist before we reformed it would have required them to wait for 2 years. But now bona fide refugee claimants are getting our protection and the security of residency in Canada in just 3 months.
And I have to give a special big thanks to our Minister, Keyni, for helping us, for helping all of us and saving our lives. And I hope he keeps continuing his job and make other people happy. Thank you very much.
Several hundred, his family is one of several hundred Vietnamese families who were stranded in Southeast Asia after the program of resettlement of Vietnamese Indo-Chinese boat people was shut down in 1983. There were families, hundreds of them in the Philippines, in Thailand, in Cambodia. They were forgotten about, they could not go back, and they could not get resettlement. The Vietnamese community in Canada approached the previous Liberal government and asked if they would open Canada's doors to protect these stranded Indo-Chinese boat people. And the previous government.
We have with us a special guest, Minister Jayson Kenney. أهلا وسهلا فيك. شكرا. Thank you very much for being with us. Just a quick question. I know you're busy. You have big fans and supporters. Quick message to the Arab community in general.
أهلا وسهلا. أهلا فيك and شكرا. مرحبا. I'm so happy to have so many members of the Canadian Arab community sponsoring refugees from Iraq and Syria. We've received nearly 26,000 to date, primarily from Iraq, but many of them were in Syria, and we're going to welcome another 20,000, while at the same time ensuring that people go through proper security screening, and we're focusing on the most vulnerable individuals.
We want to thank you for your time. Shukran. We wish you all the best on October 19. Inshallah we'll get a majority, and we all support you. Thank you.
Many parts of English Canada were also founded by the Highland Clearance Scots who had been on the wrong side of a political struggle and were kicked off their land and came to Canada as penniless refugees. My own Irish ancestors came during the potato famine when hundreds of thousands were dying. As you can see, the Kenney family has since recovered from the famine. People of Mesopotamia, we know they were speaking their languages long before Arabic arrived in that region as a language. These are the indigenous people of ancient Mesopotamia. And so yes, history has not been kind to them, but they are survivors. They have survived with strength, that they have come, so many tens of thousands have come to Canada to begin new lives, and we welcome them in this very life.
معنا ضيف كتير عزيز على قلبنا السيد جورج the former immigration judge. أهلا وسهلا فيك أستاذ جورج. بدي أسألك سؤال جورج، نحن كتير إنه مرقنا بظروف صعبة بلبنان وبنعرف يعني first hand عن الريفوجي issue وكتير إنه dear to our heart. شو تعليقك عن اللي عم بيصير بالجاليات العربية all over the world؟
الوضع كتير صعب لأن الجاليات العربية اللي تهجرت من بلادها من وطنها الأم عم بتلاقي مطارح مثلا لبنان بلد صغير 10400 كيلومتر مربع فيه 1.5 مليون لاجئ، الأردن فيها فوق المليون، تركيا فيها فوق المليون وشوي، ما صار في عبء كتير. بس اللاجئين المضبوطين بالشرق الأوسط ما عم بيلاقوا مطارح بالمخيمات لأن بحسوا بخطر. يعني لاجئين توايس، مش انه تركوا بلادهم، ما عم بيسترجوا يقعدوا بالمخيمات لان كانوا عم يقتلون ببلادهم وقعدوا بمخيمات وهن اقليات، فاقليات الشرق هلا بوضع كتير كتير دقيق وصعب، وعلى الغرب والشرق يعملوا شيء حاليا مشان يخلصون من هالمأزق.
أو شو تعليقك على مستوى كندي؟ Are we doing enough on the refugee issue؟
أكثر ما أي بلد ممكن يعمل. هالبلد هون فاتح قلبه من سنين للجميع، بس مثل ما بتعرفوا العالم حاليا عم يمرق بوضع أمني كتير صعب. ما فينا نجيب الناس بدون ما نعمل لها تشيكينج للباك جراوند تبعهم، لأن إذا الإنسان عامل عمليات ضد الإنسانية بهيديك البلدان وبده يجي لهون، شو بده يوقفوا إنه يعمل مشاكل بكندا؟ مشان هيك بدنا نعمل تشيكينج للباك جراوند تبعهم، وساعتها أهلا وسهلا خليهم يجوا وخليهم يكونوا هون مثل الخميرة بهالأرض الطيبة.
Thank you, Judge George خوري على لقائك
It has been
معنا.
the largest refugee resettlement program in Canadian history since the Indo-Chinese Vietnamese Boat People of 1979, through which I am pleased to tell you, because the media don't for some reason, that we have welcomed over 23,000 Iraqi refugees from Syria since 2009. They have found new lives here. And this is something, I want to say thank you to all of you who have come through this program, from these experiences, because your communities, these communities, are more focused on the security of Canada than any other community that I know. Syrian refugees, and we are now doing that. We're now moving, we've now welcomed nearly 3,000 Syrian refugees, and we've committed to welcoming another 20,000 as quickly as we can reasonably. We will continue to provide humanitarian relief to the people in the camps. We wish them protection, but we will also address one of the key root causes. We in Canada, cannot interfere in or resolve the complex Syrian civil war. But you know what we can do? We can be part of the international coalition that is degrading the genocidal terrorism of Daesh, and we will continue to do so. So amongst the 20,000 that we choose, we will try our best to invite people, including those who have relatives and family in Canada, who have been the victims of the terrorism. Those who cannot typically even go to the UN camps. Those who cannot receive typically the support of the international aid organizations, the most dispersed, the most vulnerable, that we will try as much as we can to focus on. And you have our word that as long as this Conservative government is in office, we will ensure that the people we welcome to Canada bring to this country a desire to be peaceful, law-abiding Canadians, and will not bring to this country the cancer of violent extremism that is
After many nights of praying, crying, but remembering only one sentence, there can be a miracle when you believe. It happened, an unbelievable chance knocked our door. The government of Canada opens his arms for us. I just want to say, Canada saved our life. I feel proud to say this. Thank you, Canada. I promise